Sahana vavatu sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant and may we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you. We welcome all of you for the online satsang of the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. So, we have been doing the Sutra Vahini, that is the discussion on the Brahma Sutras, one of the Prasthana Trayam, and we are finished 4 sutras. And now we will take a break. There is a heavy stuff, but this is important. We are going to start today, just for a couple of weeks. We'll do the Maha Shivaratri Study Guide. You probably already received in the email a few days ago. It is also on our website. It is available, but we also sent it to you during the center announcement that you have access for that. If you have any problem, just talk to us, send a message to the panelists, and they will be happy to help you. So this Maha Shivaratri celebration is very important celebration, particularly for all spiritual seekers. And Swami gave a lot of importance. The Maha Shivaratri is one of the festivals from the early days. We used to celebrate it, and this is the time we used to bring the lingas so many times, and you have to give the significance of the lingam and this Maha Shivaratri. So we are going to talk about it because the Maha Shivaratri falls on March 1st this year. It is being celebrated on March 1st in India, like in the great temples like Kashi Vishweshwara temple in Benares, and in Somnath temple. These are all Jyotirlingas. There are 12 Jyotirlingas. So we checked around. They do it in Kashi and in Somnath, and Srishailam is another very important place for the Lord Shiva Jyotirlingam, and other places they do in March 1st. But depending on the almanac, Panchangam, they call, some places they celebrate in 28th. I was told in some parts of USA they are celebrating on 28th. But anyway, so any day think about Lord Shiva is an auspicious time. But so we have 38 time zones all over the world. So to accommodate that, so we start in the Maha Shivaratri celebration starting March 1st at 5:30 a.m., go on till March 2nd, 6 a.m. Because there are people like Australia, they have 19 hours ahead of us. New Zealand, they're almost 22 hours ahead of us. So we have almost different time zones to accommodate that so that everybody can be participant of this Maha Shivaratri celebration. We are doing it on, we have SSIO from March 1st, 5:30 a.m. to March 2nd, 6 a.m. Please look at your notes, our notices, emails, and mail train. We send that. So please make note of that, and you can share with your friends and families. Actually, it will be probably in different places, local centers, maybe it's in addition, maybe celebrating on 28th. There's a possibility. And actually, we happened to listen some of the wonderful Maha Shivaratri Bhajans. I was really touched with so much joy because we heard today the bhajans being sung by devotees from Russia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Peru, Argentina, and Brazil. I couldn't believe they, as Swami says, Bharatiyas are those who have bhava, raga, tala. That means anything which do bhajans, we should have raga and tala, rhythm, melody, and bhava, feeling. You feel all of this. Swami says it is not the place where you come from, is Bharatiyas, who practices that. They would be with so much love, devotion, with beautiful rhythm, melody, the Shiva bhajans. I think you should join that time. You will enjoy them. For people all over the world singing with a lot of love, singing the glories of Lord Shiva with so much enthusiasm and energy. So that I would suggest you do that. Now we will start the study guide today because any festival or any pilgrimage, importance is not just what the destination is. The process is important. Swami used to tell when people go to in Tirupati, Tirumala hills, they go to see the Lord Venkateshwara in the sanctorum, just a few minutes they have, Govinda, Govinda. But that is not the one which will benefit you. The preparation you do, in the old days, they used to go walk up the steps or be prepared. People coming from far distances, they go on, oh, I'm going to go there 2 weeks. The process, the thinking in preparation, whether you go to Kashi or whether you go to Jerusalem, Mecca, the pilgrimage, the process is important because that time you go on thinking every day, and then that few minutes will be helpful. Like Shabari, she prepared for so many years, and just one glimpse of Lord Rama, she merged with him. Not that just few minutes are important, how she prepared. Similarly, if we really want to benefit from Maha Shivratri, on March 1st or 28th we need to have good preparation. How do you prepare? One is every day thinking about Lord Shiva and then know what this Maha Shivaratri means. That is why it is not Swami here, we are going to talk about it, not just prepare on the day, every day, because this is called Krishna Paksha. That is a dark half of the month of the month. So wherein the moon goes on waning each day, and each day you go on doing, the mind gets control. That is very important. The whole secret is the mind. So we are going to talk about it, and so that we are ready that time, we completely have Manolayam on that Mahashivratri and be merged one with Shiva. So that is the whole thing. We become Shiva ourselves. That is what Shivoham, Shivoham. That is the goal. I am Lord Shiva. That is what the famous thing, Chidananda Rupam Shivoham. I am not this, I am not this body, I am not this intellect, I am not this beautiful thing about this chanting. So we need to attain that ultimately, because Shiva is wonderful. Those 2 letters can make us really horrified. So much joy, so much, just those 2 letters, Shiva. So that is, Shiva means itself auspiciousness. Just thinking about it makes you so happy and auspicious. So let us be prepared for this Maha Shivaratri, and we'll start the study guide today. And probably we'll have a break next week, because next week we have a guest speaker, which will be wonderful, who family was exposed to Swami for 4 generations. So I would advise all of you to attend, because they are from a place in Andhra Pradesh called Konasima. That means where the lot of Vedic scholars come from, and Swami used to go there, and those Pandits used to come to Prashanti. So that is a wonderful. He was born in the family of things, and probably he will share some nice divine experiences. So now we are going to start the study guide. Please go ahead with the significance of Maha Shivaratri.
Sai Ram, brothers and sisters, we are starting from page 2 of the study guide PDF, Inner Significance of Shivaratri. Many stories are told in the Shastras to explain the origin and significance of the Maha Shivaratri festival. Bharat, the name for this land used from ancient times, means, quote, the land of those who have rati, love towards Bha, light of Bhagavan. Unquote. So for the people of this land, all days are sacred. Every moment is precious. The Ganga is holy from source to sea. But yet there are some places on its banks associated with some sage or temple, the confluence of a tributary, or a historical incident which are revered more by generations. Such places are Haridwar, Varanasi, Prayag, Rishikesh. Similarly, among all the days of the year, some are marked out as holier, when a special effort is made by aspirants to contact the source and the sea, the reality behind all this passing show. Some moments, as that during which the lingam, Shiva representation in egg-shaped stone, emerges from the avatar, are held to be specially significant for the individuals witnessing it and for the world which is thereby blessed. Some ascribe the holiness of the day to the fact of its being the birthday of Shiva, as if Shiva has birth and death like any mortal. The story that it commemorates the salvation attained by a hunter who sat on a bilva tree on the lookout for animals to kill, and without any intention to worship, unknowingly dropped some of its leaves on a lingam that lay beneath, does not make clear why this day is especially sacred. Another story is that this is the day on which Shiva danced the Tandava, cosmic dance, in the ecstasy of his innate nature, with all the gods and sages sharing and witnessing that cosmic consummation. When he consumed the halahala poison that emerged from the churning of ocean and that threatened to destroy the universe, the heat of the fumes was well nigh unbearable even for him. So Ganga flowed uninterruptedly on his matted locks, but that gave him only partial relief. The moon was placed on the head. That was of great help. Then Shiva danced the Tandava with all the gods and sages. All this, they say, happened on the same day, and so Shivaratri was held in commemoration of this occasion. Page 3. Aim of all sadhana is to eliminate the mind. We have not only the Maha Shivaratri once a year, we have a Shivaratri every month dedicated to the worship of Shiva. And why is this Ratri night so important? The night is dominated by the moon. The moon has 16 kalas, fractions, and each day, or rather each night, during the dark fortnight, one fraction is reduced until the entire moon is annihilated on new moon night. From then on, each night a fraction is added until the moon is full circle on full moon night. Chandra, the moon, is the presiding deity of the mind. The mind waxes and wanes like the moon. The Purusha Suktam says, Chandrama Manasa Jata, i.e., out of the mind of the Purusha, Supreme Being, the moon was born. It must be remembered that the chief aim of all sadhana, spiritual striving, is to eliminate the mind, to become amanaska. Then only can Maya, illusion, be rent asunder and the reality revealed. During the dark fortnight of the month, sadhana is to be done to eliminate each day a fraction of the mind. For every day, a fraction of the moon too is being taken out of cognizance. On the night of the 14th day, the night of Shiva, only a fraction remains. If some special effort is made that night through more intensive and vigilant sadhana like puja or japam or dhyana, that is ritual worship, one-pointed repetition of holy names, meditation, success is ensured. Shiva alone has to be meditated upon that night without the mind straying towards thoughts of sleep or food. This has to be done every month. Once a year on Maha Shivaratri, a special spurt of spiritual activity is recommended so that what is Savam, corpse, can become Shivam, God. by the perpetual awareness of the divine indweller. Read one more
Yeah.
page.
Because these are all same theme,
Related.
so significance, and then the change.
Page 4. Shivaratri is an auspicious night. Man is endowed with infinite potencies. All that you experience by way of seeing, hearing, and the like are reflections of the inner being. The significance of this experience has to be properly understood. Today is Shivaratri, the night of Shiva. You experience the night every day. These are ordinary nights. They are nights of darkness. But Shivaratri is an auspicious night. How is it auspicious? There are 16 aspects for the mind. The moon is the presiding deity for the mind. Of the 16 phases of the moon, today is the 14th day of Margashirsha month. 15 of the phases are absent. On this day, it is possible to get full control of one's mental faculties. Hence, it is considered an auspicious day. Auspiciousness consists in diverting the mind towards God. This calls for getting rid of the inherited animal tendencies in man. This is the occasion to recognize the omnipresence of the divine in all beings and in all objects. It follows that whomsoever you adore or condemn, you are adoring or condemning God. You must follow the injunction, help ever, hurt never. Should we stop?
Yes.
So we read 3 excerpts from Swami's discourse. The first 2 were from February 1969, Maha Shivaratri, and there is one more later on. So in here, Swami is explaining towards step by step the concept of Shivaratri, why it is important. The basic bottom line is that this all results in control of the mind, or rather destruction of the mind. In fact, Swami discourses given a long time ago have been combined into a book, which is The Mind and Its Mysteries, but this is more expanded. And in Maha Shivaratri night, if we focus on God, then we have a greater chance of coming closer to Him by elimination of the mind. And the other thing important here, Swami is pointing out, is that all these rituals that we do have a spiritual significance. Once we understand that and we practice that inside, then the mind can be controlled. Otherwise, the mind goes towards worldly objects and worldly things. And as Swami says, the mind holds the key. You turn it towards the world, it locks you into birth and death. You turn it towards God, it takes you towards liberation. And Shiva is the object. Because we are born beings with mind, body, etc., we must have something concrete. Brahman by itself has no form, no name, no aspects. Nirguna Brahman. But we need some Saguna Brahman to latch on to before we can proceed. And Lingam and the Shiva forms are easy for us to work with. Sairam.
Sairam. So as you said, this is very important, and as Swami said, this Shiva means, as you said, Shiva is auspiciousness, Mangalam, goodness. That is why God is called Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Swami's biography name is Satyam Shivam Sundaram because he's the embodiment Shiva. The biography, which is written by Professor Kasturi, Swami approved it, Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Actually, as long as centuries ago, Plato thought about it, and he describes goodness and beauty and auspiciousness. So this is truth, goodness, and beauty. So that is what Satyam Shivam Sundaram. So this is very important. And every month it comes as Maha Shivaratri. Masa means monthly. Monthly, every month it comes on the 14th day of the dark half on Krishna Paksha. So for people who are Shaivites, people who has chosen deity is Lord Shiva, they do that special thing more intensely. They do the Rudram, Ekadash Rudram, and do all the rituals. But this thing which happens only once a year in the month of Magha is Maha Shivaratri, same 14th. But there are whenever we do this celebration, there are different levels, external level, that is also you should know. Then inner significance, and then finally divine significance. 3 levels of understanding depending upon where we are. Sometimes people get stuck only with the outside. It is nice to know outside, but always you need to go inside, and then finally divine significance. Outside things, Shivaratri, on the day as Swami said, Maha Shivaratri, Lord Shiva is supposed to do the Tandava, that is called cosmic dance. Actually, there is a beautiful temple in Chidambaram for Nataraja. We also sing Chidambari, Nataraja, so that's the cosmic dance. Actually, there is an inner significance scientifically. There's always a dance of the subatomic particles around the Shakti, the energy. So actually, that's explained in one of the Tao of Physics. Tao of Physics, he explains the cosmic dance of Lord Shiva. That is why Nataraja thing. And another explanation, this is supposed to be the day when Parvati Kalyanam, Parvati and Parameshwara had wedding. That is also symbolic. That means Parvati represents Prakriti, that is this manifested universe, and Shiva represents the unmanifest universe, the substratum, the Brahman and its Shakti. So that is the day they combine together. That is why always this feminine and male energies, they come together. That is another significance. And this is the day where he brings out the lingam aspect, that is the representation of the formless reality. We talked about the Omkar, we discussed quite a bit a few weeks ago. Omkar is the pranava, primeval sound, which represents Nirguna Nirakara Brahman, attributeless, formless reality. And lingam is its counterpart. That is in the form of shabda, sound, whereas lingam is in the form of a shape where it doesn't have a head, legs, feet, or anything. This is the closest to the attributeless Brahman. That is why the lingam is this another thing on the day Lord Shiva do that. And main thing in the beginning, Swami said, Shiva is representative of sacrifice, love. That is the representation, and also of vairagya, detachment. He is not. So when the poison came, so much which could consume the whole world during that preparation for the Amrita, the whole worlds could have been destroyed. But he was so loving, he took it himself. And that is what he had, Garalakanta. Whenever we sing the bhajans, we should remember, we say Nilakanta, Shiva. That means that blueness represents the sacrifice. You think as soon as you sing Nilakanta, my God, he drank that poison for the sake of us, which should have consumed all the worlds to protect us. That is the sacrifice of Lord Shiva, the drinking the hala for the sake of it. But in turn, he gave the Amrita, was distributed because of his own sacrifice. There is another significance of why. And what we talked about, somebody was talking to one of the sisters, oh, it's so nice that Shat Sampati, she says it touched her life. Yeah, Brahma Sutras we talked about. There, the 6 qualities you need to develop. One of the things is this Uparati and Sahana, that is forbearance, and Lord Shiva is example. And second thing is Vairagya. We said he needs Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampati, and Mumuksha. So Vairagya is embodiment as for Vairagya. Lord Shiva, if anything, they say he's not Alankara Priya like Vishnu, he's Abhishek Priya. He just very simple, just put some water on him and some leaf is happy, because simplicity is the thing. Where does he stay? In burial grounds, Meshanavashi. And put, what is this thing? Some ash, and put this tiger garment. So just he has got the snakes as the ornament. So that is the simplicity, sacrifice, renunciation. That is Lord Shiva. So just thinking about him will transport us into happiness, and he is the example to be followed for all spiritual seekers. That is why Jnanat Maheshwarat Ichyate. Jnana is given by Lord Maheshwara. He is the embodiment of the Jnana. That's why in Dakshinamurti, this beautiful Swami, this Subbalakshmi, the great Bharat Ratna, great thing, in front of Swami, she used to say this. It's beautiful. I think my voice is not that. Om Namah Pranavarthaya Shuddha Jnanaika Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Lord Shiva in the form of Dakshinamurti, he is the Pranavarta, he is the explanation of the Omkara, and he is the one who is the embodiment of pure knowledge, pure wisdom, and he is Nirmala, pure and Prashanta. So she used to do it for Swami, and she like that. That is the Lord Shiva who is the thing. And what is the purpose of this whole night? It is to eliminate the mind. As Anupam was talking about, Swami gave a series of discourses. I would recommend everybody to read. This is 1976. In Telugu, it is called Manasu Marmamu. In English, this book is translated as Mind and Its Mystery. It is given in 1976. There are 9 discourses on the occasion of Navaratri. It's beautiful because the whole problem for us is mind. That is why Mana eva Manushyanam Karanam Bandhamokshe. Mind is responsible for bondage and liberation. Exactly, beautiful example of a key. You turn one side, it is locks. You turn the other side, unlocks. Similarly, you turn the mind towards God, it is liberates you, makes you happy. You turn toward the world, it gives you grief, suffering, bondage. So the whole spiritual practice is how to saturate our mind and body and everything with the divine thoughts, divine words, and divine deeds. That is the whole thing. That is why this control of the mind is very, very important. And here, so there is one I recommend you all to read the 1976, those discourses, Mind and Its Mystery, because the whole purpose of Shivaratri is control of the mind. As Swami said, moon is the presiding deity. Chandrama Manaso Jata. When this Purusha Suktam you chant, Purusha Suktam is very important, like Rudram. So where you see whole universe as a cosmic being, a Purusha. And they describe the parts of the Purusha, different thing. They say, Chandrama Manaso Jata, Chacho Suryo Ajayata. For this cosmic person, cosmic being, which is Virata Purusha, the eyes is the sun, the mind is the moon. So moon is the one, they control the mind. That's why somebody says, oh, this full moon day, that's why this guy is behaving crazy. Because, and also the word lunatic came. Lunatic, the crazy people, that means they realize that the mind has a control. Lunatic is, the mind is influenced. So the whole thing is this time is going down, 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 down. So that's why each day, Swami says, don't wait till Mahashiv. Each day you need to practice. At least we can chant that Panchakshari mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, every day. Or Shivaya Gurave Namaha, or Dakshinamurti Stotram. Every day, at least some, that means you are ready for the Maha Shivaratri, not just on that day. So this is very important. And why is it important? In the last, on page 4, Swami said, there are 3 things important. By doing this, I know a lot of people, Mahashivaratri means we have the fasting. That means you don't eat, but you go on worrying about eating this, that, and just you are hungry thinking about when is the fast going to end. Then it is not good. Spontaneously, you are so absorbed in God, you forget food. That is better. But if you are going to think about food all the time, better to eat and think about God. So that is why Swami says, don't make it a ritual. And vigil also, same thing. We should be awake because you love to sing these bhajans so much, thinking about Lord Shiva, you forget about sleep. So it should be, forget the sleep and food naturally, because whereas people, Swami used to say, they go to movies, play cards, and do these various games to keep awake. And that won't take you anywhere. For all, it is sinful on that night to do all those bad things, to do the playing cards, going to movies and gossiping, wasting time. So it is better to sleep is better, at least it's not harmful. But if you do, you need to spend that time. There is, so 3 important things here, he says, Swami says, what is the thing by getting rid of mind? Number 1, you get rid of your animal tendencies, all our negative qualities. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Desire, anger, greed, attachment, pride, and jealousy. That is the one. We need to do that. And second important, that's why we need to say after Maha Shivaratri, am I really progressing to cut down my desires, my anger, my greed, my pride, my attachment, and my jealousy. So that is number one. Number two is to see divine in everything. That is why the Rudram we chant, people mechanically chant. The whole Rudram is first you identify, oh, the Rudra is there in the farmer, Rudra is there in the physician, Rudra is there in the businessman, Rudra is there in a fighter, Rudra is there in the saint. Then next stage you go, Rudra is there in the cheater, Rudra is there in the thief, Rudra is there in the wayward robber. So then next stage you go, Rudra is there in a plant, Rudra is there in a tree, Rudra there is in forest. And then you go to next stage, even Rudra is there in a stone, Rudra there is in a hillock, Rudra there is in a mountain. So then you go to stage, Rudra is there in a lake, Rudra is there in a river, Rudra is there in a ocean. So in everything, when you go for a walk, when you see the tree, hey, there is Rudra beautifully appearing. Or that's what gopis study. Everything is permeated for them, Krishna consciousness. Same thing, you should see divinity not only for human being, and even animals, such as dog is the representation, horse, like that, everything, whether it is humans, animals, and plants, and mountains, rivers, everything. That is second thing we need to realize. As we say, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, Sarvam Shivamayam. That is the second thing Swami is telling you need to reach. And third thing is you need to see that you feel oneness with all beings. He says, don't condemn or anybody. Whatever you do to other people, adore or worship, it comes to me. Sarvajiva tiraskaram keshavam pratigacchati. Sarvajiva namaskaram keshavam pratigacchati. So whenever you criticize somebody, you are criticizing God. It goes to him. And whenever you are adoring somebody, helping, it goes. That is why Swami says, help ever, hurt never. That is why Swami used to tell in his discourse, says, Ashtadasha Puranesu Vyasaya Vachanadvayam Aropakaraya Punyam Papaya Parapidanam. Just summary of 18 Puranas is only two things. How do you get Papam, Punyam? Punyam says, oh, I want to do this Vratam. Yeah, it is good to do Vratam ritual. Simple bottom line is, Vyasa said, Swami used to, Paropakaraya Punyam. Anything you help other people, that is Punyam, you will get good thing. Papaya Parapedanam. Anything you cause pain to other people, by thought, word, do it, that is Papam. That is why help ever, hurt never is. By thought, word, and deed we help, and that by never hurt anybody. So there is another message he said. That is why you need to have that feeling of oneness. That is why Lord Krishna says in Gita, he says, Atmaupanyena sarvatra samam pashyati urjana. That greatest yogi is the one who identifies with others and he feels their pain as his pain, their joy as his joy. That is the thing we need to develop that. So this is very important aspect of mind and its control. This is very important. Please do I deal into that. So the whole summary is, what is Shivaratri, or Maha Shivaratri, and Maha Shivaratri, and then the relation between the mind and its control, and what's the purpose of the whole achievement. What are you supposed to do? Three things, at least remember. Getting rid of us, Swami says, negative tendencies in our body. So try to get purity. Second is, try to see divinity in everything, because everything is divine. And third is, try to practice the oneness with others, in which case you will always help ever, hurt never. This is the major important messages. So now you want to go to the next one, or yeah?
So the next chapter is symbolism and their meaning. In the PDF file, the blue headings at the top are the chapters. Symbolism and their meaning. Lingam is the form, symbol of God. Just as Om is the sound symbol of God, the Lingam is the visible symbol of God. the most meaningful, the simplest, and the least endowed with the appendages of attributes. Lingam means that in which this Jagat, world of change, liyate, i.e., attains laya, merges or dissolution. All forms merge in the formless at last. Shiva is the principle of the dissolution of all names and forms of all individual entities. So the lingam is the simplest sign of emergence and mergence. Next section. Live in the constant presence of Shiva. Every form conceived in the scriptures has a deep significance. Shiva does not really ride a bull. The bull is the symbol of stability, standing on four legs. Sathya, Dharma, Shanti, and Prema, truth, righteousness, peace, and love. Shiva is described as having three eyes, eyes that see the past, the present, and the future. The elephant skin which forms his cloak is a symbol of the bestial primitive traits which his grace destroys. In fact, he tears them to pieces and they become totally ineffective. His four faces symbolize Santam, equanimity, Rudram, terror, Mangalam, grace, and Utsaham, elevation of energy. While adoring the lingam on this Lingodbhava day, the day of emergence of the lingam from Sai's body, you must contemplate on these truths of Shiva that the lingam represents. It is not this night alone that you should spend in the thought of Shiva. Your whole life must be lived in the constant presence of the Lord. Endeavor, that is the main thing. That is the inescapable consummation for all mortals. Resolve on this holy Shivaratri, in the presence of Shiva Sai, to visualize the Shiva as the inner power of all. With each breath, you are even now asserting, Soham, I am He. Not only you, but every being that breathes, every being that lives, everything that exists. It is a fact which you have ignored so long. Believe it from now on. When you watch your breath and meditate on that magnificent truth, slowly He and I, Sa and Aham, will draw nearer and closer until the feeling of separateness will fade away. And then Soham will be transformed into Om, the Prandava, the primal sound, the fundamental symbol of God. That Om is the true reality behind this relative apparent reality of the world. Page 6, next section. When desire is destroyed, love reigns supreme. The Vibhuti Abhisheka, anointing with sacred ash, has a potent inner meaning which Swami wants you to grasp. The Vibhuti is the most precious object in the truly spiritual sense. You know that Shiva burned the god of desire or Kama called Manmatha, for he agitates the mind and creates the mental confusion into a heap of ashes. Shiva adorned himself with that ash, and thus he shone in his glory as the conqueror of desire. When Kama was destroyed, Prema, love, reigned supreme. When there is no desire to warp the mind, love can be true and full. What greater offering can you give God to glorify Him than the ash signifying your triumph over tantalizing desire? Ash is the ultimate condition of things. It cannot undergo any further change. The Vibhuti Abhisheka is done to inspire you to give up desire and offer Shiva the ashes of its destruction as the most valuable of all the prizes you have earned. Ash cannot fade as flowers do in a day or two. It does not dry and disappear or get soiled and unpotable as water does. It will not lose color as leaves do in a few hours. It does not rot as fruits do in a few days. Ash is ash forever and ever. So burn your vials, your vices, your bad habits, worship Shiva, rendering yourself pure in thought, word, and deed. Should we do the next chapter?
No, we'll stop. Yeah, because
We'll
almost only 5 more minutes. So
Yeah.
we'll stop here and discuss.
So here in this chapter, symbolism and their meaning, Swami is explaining the significance. As Dr. D mentioned just now, all of these rituals that we follow, they have an inner significance, and it becomes more appealing, more encouraging, and more attractive if you realize that and we can practice it inside us. So the vibhuti, the last portion, is very important because in all our Sai functions we take vibhuti, but to know that it stands for the absence of everything is very enlightening. And in fact, I was just mentioning to someone that even Christians, when they do Lent before Easter, they put ash on their forehead as a sign of giving up. And Christians who really follow Lent, they have to give up one object throughout that whole time period. Whatever is the desire that they like, they have to give up. So this practice of renunciation or tyaga is prevalent in almost all religions of the world. But here the symbolism for lingam is that, and there are discourses given on this, and there is a talk by Dr. Reddy you can find on our website, where it shows why it is so significant, and the fact that it emerges from Sai Shiva means that he is the Shiva Shakti himself, and he is here explaining all these significances that we have followed for many, many centuries and many, many eons. And Soham, to be one with him, is the ultimate goal. This is what Swami is explaining in the February 1969 Maha Shivaratri discourse, that slowly we need to merge with him. And this is the night where this particular action or this particular form of mergence becomes more and more real and more closer, so that we can practice it. But we need to practice that every day, but we take advantage of it on the Maha Shivaratri night. Sayram.
So anyway, just to short few more minutes we have, so we'll continue next week. But just I want to discuss that we all need to know the inner significance of whatever we do. Everybody says Nandi, Ishvara, all these things come during our bhajans. So Nandi, that is, when you think of Nandi here, Swami said, Nandi has 4 legs, the bull. So what those 4 legs represent? Sathya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema. You should say that means you are walking on the we mechanically say Nandi, Ishvara, here, Nataraja. One is Nandi represents, number 1, the 4 legs of that is Satya, Dharma, Shanti. Second, the greatest devotee of Lord Shiva is Nandi. So he liked Nandi even more than his own children, Ganesha and Subramanya. So Lord Shiva loved Nandi because Nandi doesn't care. You see that any Shiva temple you go, where is Nandi looking? Just look at straight at Shiva. He doesn't look left side, right side, only at Shiva. So that is why Swami says the students, after marriage, you become Nandis. That means just look at your wives. That's all. Concentrate on wife. Don't forget about Sai Baba and Sai. So that's what, but Nandi should, our focus should be God. Nandi is the example. Only place I saw Nandi doesn't face Lord Shiva is only one place I saw. There is a famous Shaivite saint called Nandana. So he's untouchable. So he goes to a place near Chidambaram. There is a place, I forget the name that goes. And there, those guys, they don't allow these Harijans to go. So from a distance, he has to see the Lord Shiva. But he's such a great bhakta. But when he wants to see Shiva, this Nandi is standing in front. Oh Lord, what are you doing? And there, the Nandi has to move. Because this guy is such a great bhakta, even Nandi has to listen. So because Lord Shiva said, this is the only place where it doesn't face Lord Shiva. And that is what this person's devotion. Even now, you go there, the stone, the thing, the symbolic, is not faces Shiva. Otherwise, that is another example. He is one-pointed devotion. And third thing is, he is the carrier. He carries the load of Lord Shiva. That means he does God's work. One is one-pointed, just only looks at God and walks on the floor, and then he has got this carrying the load. That means takes part in the divine mission. He's the one who carries Lord Shiva's work, and he's the one who greets the devotees of Lord Shiva when they come to Kailas. So that is the thing. We should all become like the example, follow. So the rest of them we will discuss because it's not enough time, but these are all very great symbolic significance of Shiva and Maha Shivaratri. Okay, Sai Ram.